Hello, everyone. Oh, let me press record. Hello, everyone. This is a pop-up training on this beautiful Saturday. I'm in Brisbane, Australia, so it's the afternoon, and I have so much beaming in. I was like, where do I start? How do I start this? So, what I want to speak to is the distortion in the conscious community. And when I say conscious community, I mean those who are awake in that they see the agenda, they see what's going on, they know the news is propaganda. You know, we see that, we know that we're living in a simulation. We know that we're living in the matrix. Let me just go into my group and make sure. So I'm streaming. Hello, Helen. So I'm streaming this into the group from Zoom, and this is recorded so that I can use this recording because I can't record it in Facebook. So let me know when you pop up live. I'll check periodically and say hello. And if you're catching the replay, hashtag replay and let me know. I would love for you throughout, if there's something that you resonate with, something that you go aha about, something that lands, share it in the comments, or give some hearts at that point so that I know that you're picking up what I'm putting down. So this transmission is born from like an internal frustration from what I see playing out, around me recently and in conversations that I'm having and in coaching sessions that I'm facilitating. Now, I preface this with the channel transmissions that come through as they're inspired, and they come through as a result of the ways in which I engage in my world and with my clients and with friends and my community. And what I'm sharing, these are insights and an offer for my perception and my perspective on them to support you to possibly have a perception shift, possibly break through something that you are stuck on, and have a more expanded view and perception of yourself and what might be your blind spots. This is not designed to be judgments of you. This is like my world sharing with me what they're experiencing, and then me having insights about that and wanting to share that, going, that person's not alone. There's this thread happening through everybody that I want to share these insights about, because to support you all. So here's the thing. The title is the title is the distortion in the conscious community between knowing and doing. Now, I get this a lot. I have people in my world, in my community, and around me, and colleagues and clients say things to me like, oh, I know that. I know that stuff. So I want to just skip over that and get to the good part. Like, tell me something I don't know. And then therein lies the problem. Because if you were doing these things that you say that you know, you would have different results. You would be experiencing different things in your life. Now, I am not immune to this experience either. I'm sharing this from personal experience and things that my clients are experiencing and people in my community. And so when when something really amazing comes across your path, so you're a soul that knows that you have this infinite potential, that you were not made to live this mediocre life, doing these, living like a lemming, where, you go to school, you get a job, you retire, and then live out the rest of your life, I don't know, traveling around on a bus. Like, you know that you want something beyond that. You can see the glitches in the matrix and you see beyond that. And the experience that we get to have is that we then know and have potential. So we have more potential. Then we see other opportunities. So then we go, okay, I know that I'm not fit for a 9 to 5 job, but I need to feed my family and I need to do all these things. So I'm going to look for ways to earn an income that uses my talents and abilities and gifts. And then you come across, there is so many ways to make an inspired income, like infinite. And if you choose not to have a 9 to 5 job. So there are so many avenues to earn an income online. There are so many avenues in outside of bricks and mortar business, outside of 9 to 5 jobs. There's different business models. There are infinite number of people out there sharing ways to do that. So we see them and we take, and there's an inspiration that happens within us when we see an invitation, we see someone's marketing, or we get an invitation from somebody, and then we go to that thing, and then we listen to what's being shared. And we have the experience of, oh my gosh, deep resonance with what's being shared, because yes, we want to break out of the mold. Yes, we know that we're living in a matrix. Yes, we know that we're destined, we have infinite potential. Yes, we know that all of these things are possible because we know them, right? We get them at an intellectual, cognitive level. And then and our soul is saying that the goosebumps that we get and the feeling of um, connection and community and union and aliveness and goosebumps, did I say that? But all the information that we get from our body, that our soul is like, yes, this is in resonance to what I've been asking for, what I've been calling in. And then the human part of us, the physical body and our mind, because our mind is actually quite primitive. Our mind still has our primitive, our limbic system, our animal brain. So then we come to the end of that and we say, and then we start to think about the experience that we've just had. Now, we know that anything is possible. We're capable of amazing things. We know that we can break the status quo. We know that people break limits all of the time. We know that at a cognitive, mind, conscious level. Then there's the body, our body and our mind, that comes in to save us. It comes in to rescue us and keep us where we are. It reminds us that change is scary. It reminds us of all the other times we failed. It reminds us, what will other people think? It reminds us of all of our tribal beliefs that come from our family that kept us safe while we were children and raised us to this point. It reminds us of all the ways we are supposed, we shouldn't take a risk. We shouldn't climb out of that hole and be different. Because if we did, what would we leave behind? What would our family think? All of those things. Now, we also know So when we're awake and we're aware that we live in a matrix, we also know that family conditioning is a thing. We also know that patterns and limits can hold us back. We also know that our ego goes against our, like, goes in contrast, goes in whatever, against our soul, our heart consciousness. Like, we know those things. And yet it plays out, and all of those things happen for us where we go, actually, I can't really make that change. I can't really do those things because of all the other experiences that I've had before where it didn't work. I've always been told that I am best to do what I've been taught to do, or no one else in my family has done these things. Everyone in my family has, had a business or had a job and, you know, bought an investment property and lived happily ever after, whatever the stories are. And so here's what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter what you know. It doesn't matter what you know. It matters what you do. You can know all over yourself and nothing will change. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And I have danced with this for years now. I have facilitated transformational circles and programs for years now. And as someone who, the energy type that I am, my human design, all the things, I now speak with absolute conviction and absolute knowing. And the challenge for me has been, I'm not a hype girl. I'm not an extroverted hype girl who chooses, because I could, who chooses, I choose not to go into that hype girl thing, right? I know you know what I'm talking about, in order to get you to join my programs or make changes or anything like that. I'm not into that. I have a deeply grounded knowing about my channel and the things that come through and my ability to facilitate change in others. I have always been this way, but the first part of my life, I didn't get paid for it. The first part until my 30s, I didn't have a business around it. I did it for free and exhausted myself doing that. And now there's a beautiful energy exchange that happens with people that come into my field. It's innate in me. It is one of my gifts, and it is the thing I choose to do. And so I say this from deep wisdom and deep experience. This is an embodied message for you. You can know all the things. You can know that the tax system is wrought, I don't know if that's the right word to use. You can know that these things that they put in are poison. You can know that the having a 9 to 5 job and working for 40 years to get to your retirement is never going to give you what you want, but continue to do it because you're unwilling to make the changes to do it differently. You're unwilling to get uncomfortable. You're willing to do things, unwilling to get uncomfortable, unwilling to ruffle feathers, unwilling to go against the tribal mind, the tribal brain, the family who say that's illegal, or that's whatever, the judgments that they have about the things that we choose to do. And that's a choice, right? That is the choice. Now I know now I know that the only thing that's going to get you out of the rut that you're in, the only thing that is going to get you from where you are to where you want to be, actually, I'd love to hear this in the comments. Let me see if anyone's on. If you're watching live or if you're watching the replay, type in the comments. The only thing, what do you think the only thing that you can do to get from where you are now to where you want to be, what do you think it is? And a hint, it's not read a book and it's not do a course and it's not talk to someone about it and it's not tell people what you're going to do. It's not those things. It is for you to do the thing. It is for you to take the action. Like I went to my very first personal development thing when I was 14. My mum and her partner at the time took me to an event called Alpha Dynamics, and it taught NLP and it taught hypnosis and it taught these things that were all very new to me, but I was 14. And my parents were, learning these skills. And then, I do think that it's part of nature. It's part of my nature to be this way inclined, but that's fascinating that was the beginning of, your mind is programmable. Your body is primitive. Your soul has a connection to source consciousness, like these pieces. And I didn't have a religious upbringing. I didn't have that concept or anything like that. I started to learn these concepts in this program when I was 14. Then when I was 21, maybe 21, 22, I went to an event and it was like a Tony Robbins style event, but it wasn't Tony Robbins. It was a guy that did similar thing. We walked across hot coals. And I remember at the time, my dad said to me, why are you doing all of these? Why are you doing all of these things? It's like you think that you're broken and you're trying to fix something. And really disapproved of me making these choices. Why don't you do X, Y, Z? Like uh, recalling and like drawing on his own wisdom from, from his reservoir of knowledge and wisdom that he has, reference points as I was looking for from his life. But the thing is, no one, not your parents, not your partner, not your mentor, not your family, not your best friend, no one knows what's best for you at all. And the journey that we take into adulthood is to actually break the ties with our family, the energetic ties, not estranging ourselves from them, not causing problems, but breaking the energetic tie of seeking approval from them, because that's how we're initially conditioned as children, is that's what we do for our survival, is seek that approval. And they also go the other way, that they know best for us. But every generation that's born, we're actually here to teach and evolve and enlighten the generation before us. So our children, if as parents, they're meant to, I know our parents, that generation looks at, they are the knower of all things, and that's their generation, right? That's the hierarchy viewpoint that they've had for many thousands of years. When what's coming through now for us is that, well, for some of us, is that it's a consultative round table experience in the family. My children are here for me to evolve, for me to be enlightened. So they are going to teach me things. I'm the student. So I'm the guide for them to grow into the very best versions of who they are. But it's as their guide, it is not to shape them into who I think they need to be. It is for me to guide them to themselves so that they can recognize their most authentic self that I'm not fully privy to, because I'm not God. And so it's to guide them to their most authentic self, to hold space for them to be their most authentic selves, so that they can grow into the fullest expression of themselves. Because we know that the absolute shit show that we have in the world with mental illness and suicide and depression and anxiety of our generation, of those between 30 years old and 50 years old, is an absolute disaster. The situation is dire, and it is because the generations before us have parented, and society and schools, like it's a collective thing, and this is not a blame thing to shame our parents. They did the very best that they could with what they had, but it is a result of parenting and schooling and society that has everybody abandon their authentic selves. We self-abandon for approval. We consistently and constantly self-abandon to feel loved and accepted. And that is the problem. That is the whole core problem. And now our parents didn't mean to do that. They just wanted compliant children, and that's how they thought they had to do it. And they thought if they do that, then they'll have compliant adults in society who would be good citizens and continue it on. But what we're doing is something different. We've given birth to star seeds. A lot of us are star seeds ourselves. A lot of us have star seed lineage where we find the human experience perplexing and very, very challenging. And we're meant to find each other, support each other, and we're meant to guide our small humans into big humans who know how to lead themselves. We're learning to lead ourselves. We're learning to shed all the masks and the conditioning and patterns. We're learning to get rid of all of that to be our most authentic selves. But our job is to guide our offspring to be that from the beginning. And so bringing it back to the distortion between knowing and doing. So you can know that it's not ideal to yell at your children and shame them to get them to do what you want them to do, right? You can know that. You know that. But you can continually do it and continually use shame and bribery and extrinsic motivation to get them to do stuff, because you're not doing anything to create the change within you so that you can show up differently with your children. So I can know that, but do nothing about my conditioning and my wounding and my triggers, and just continue to yell and shame my children. Or I can get comfortable, I can get acquainted with my own stuff, my own wounds, my own limiting beliefs, and actually do the somatic practices, the journaling, the body work, the deep reflection to move it through, to change my behavior so that I show up differently to my children, so that they don't have the same wounds I do. And so I did experience my whole parenting. I've been a parent, my son's about turning 12 at the end of this year. My parenting has always been criticized by my family. My mother-in-law thinks that it's a direct attack on her, because, and that's her problem, of course. My mum isn't around anymore, but she was like, I don't think you're doing it right. My Everybody in my closest family judged the way I parented. And it caused huge, huge issues. But I don't care for their approval. I don't care for their approval. I am connected with my channel, my soul's guidance, and my knowing. What I know to be right for me and my family. And to do that, so in order to do that, I had to do the work to get to a place of deep knowing and certainty within me so that that didn't bother me, because initially it did. Initially it upset me that they couldn't just cheer me on and think I was amazing and say that I'm doing such an incredible job. And so I couldn't just complain about them not approving of me and me continuing to do the thing, but feel shitty on the inside, because we know that how we feel is a manifestation tool. So instead of just going, I'm just going to do this thing out of rebellion to them because I know better, and I'm going to feel shitty on the inside because I feel guilty and bad that they feel bad about me doing it this way and all of that. I do the alchemy work. I do the healing work. I worked with mentors and healers. I did programs, had mentorship in order for me to learn the skills to be able to do this. So now I can do this for myself. And this is what I facilitate. I facilitate transformational programs for people to empower themselves, because I don't want codependent people. That's not what we're here for. We're doing this to empower ourselves. And I don't want to have people in my programs that I've got to keep motivating, or I've got to keep convincing, because that takes away from my energy. This is a co-creative space. My programs are designed. I'm a reminder. I'm a reflection. I give channeled transmissions in order for you to remember everything that you know, so that then you go and do the things. And so the knowing versus doing. You know that being part, if you've decided that you may have been an educator all of your life, you may have been a teacher all of your life, you may have been a nurse all of your life, you may come from a lineage of people doing it a certain way. And then you know that you're different. You feel different. You resonate with different things. You want to do different things. You have a different vision. And then you're stuck with the battle of, oh my gosh, I just don't know how, not that I don't know how, that I can't make this change because it's just too radically different from what my family have done. So there will be too much judgment for that. You can heal that shit. That is the work. That is the thing that is the most liberating journey. That is the thing that I'm most passionate about, is that, and I'm a living example. I lived the first part of my life like crippled by people pleasing. Like, I would self-abandon before I would say no to someone to upset. I would, and I still battle with the suffering that can come when I disappoint somebody else, or I do something to put myself first, because that's what's important. I'm here for my life. It's my life, not someone. I'm not here to completely be a martyr. And navigating the inner terrain where I would not take the actions for many, many years, because I would rather suffer on the inside than deal with the confrontation of someone else being upset. And for me to be able to get to a place to reconcile all of the layers that had me live in that way, have me reconcile all of those layers, that now I can hold myself in divine reverence. And I feel a wave of emotion as I say this, that I can say no in honor of myself, not in rebellion to something else. I can hold space. I can honor myself enough to say, this doesn't align for me, and allow the other person to be upset, to project all over me, to say shit things, and know that that is their stuff. To be able to see clearly what is a projection and what is my stuff. To be able to see what is my ego and what is my soul's voice. To be able to see where fear is coming in just to be met, not to stop me, just to be met. And so I am a living, breathing example of what it looks like to self-lead, to be courageous, and to do the thing. Because there is no other option for me. If I'm on the path of self-actualization, I'm on the path of following my soul's voice, living in my heart consciousness, breaking the mold, being out of the status quo, not doing it how other people do it, being willing to go against, including my husband, of course, in a respectful way. But of course, he would just like it if I was, sometimes, some parts of him would like it if it was just easier and I didn't do things differently, and I didn't have to go against, like, it would be easier if I just had a normal job, and if I just, had the consistent income every week, and just had holidays every 4 weeks holidays every year, and it was just like that, because that's manageable and comfortable for those who are into that kind of thing. And that's not what I'm here for. That's not what my soul craves. So I'm going to I am uncomfortable daily. I make uncomfortable decisions daily. I have people asking me to do things that I'm like, actually, that's not in alignment for me. So I'm going to say no, and I have to navigate what's on the other side of me saying no. I'm not here for others. I'm here for me and this life and this fullest expression. And part of that fullest expression is to use my voice to share my insights, to support you in creating the perception shifts and creating the shifts to make the changes that you want to make in your life. I'm doing it. Like this morning, I received a beautiful invitation in my inbox, totally spontaneously, to someone that I know but not that well. And she invited me to a beautiful VIP day. And it had a VIP kind of price tag on it. But I didn't consider that. I listened, it was a voice invitation. I listened to the invitation, and I got such bubbles of excitement, and I got such a strong yes, that I said yes. And yes, I got uh, I was going to say a stretch. I got that feeling of stretch. I got that edge. I got a teeny tiny little pang of like, oh, there are other things I could be investing or um, paying a bill or whatever. But in that moment, I was like, that is going to bring me so much joy and so much expansion that my soul says yes to that thing. And I followed through and did the thing. I moved toward the things that bring me joy. And then this also brings me, this is how I'm going to wrap it up. This has been way longer than I intended. To bring it into a close, the money story, our money story is a mother effer. If someone says to me, I want to do it, but I can't afford it, I'm going to say, that's a money story. And you say, I know I've done work on that. This is what I'm talking about. Because you would have a different response and you would be doing different things if you'd really worked on it. You don't work on it once and it's healed and it goes away. We are bombarded and we are being literally penetrated every minute of every day with scarcity messages in the matrix. Every minute of every day. So in order to balance that in every minute of every day that you're awake and aware, you have to be doing something to balance that onslaught. Because even if you don't watch the news, but you're in the car and you listen to the radio, or you hear someone at the supermarket, or your partner is wigging out about paying bills, or whatever's going on, as in all the onslaught that's happening, it's almost impossible to avoid unless you go live in a cave. It is non-stop scarcity. It is non-stop scarcity. So in order for you to know your birthright of abundance and know what you have access to and know how to expand beyond that, you have to do things. You have to do, again, not know, not think about, do. You have to do. You have to take action on things to balance that, which means listening to wealth consciousness content on podcasts or audiobooks, which means making conscious choices around what you're hearing. And when somebody says things, now I get everything's gone up in price around us, and you have to be doing things to increase your income. We either lower our expenses or we increase our income. Now, you can only lower your expenses so far because we've got to eat and we've got to live somewhere and we've got to have utilities and all those things. So we have to increase our income. And in order to increase our income, we have to expand our awareness and our capacity of what we can hold and what we can be with. And so it's not a matter of, I know the money stories come from my dad who told me that this, that, and the other, and my mum told me this, that, and the other, and I've done a few journal exercises, and I've done a full moon ceremony about how to do that, about how to dissolve those beliefs, and I'm good. No, you're not. We need to, if you're falling prey to, I want to do that, but I can't do that because of money. Money is a flow of energy. Your capacity to be with and hold who you are and own your medicine is in direct correlation to how much money and energy flows through you. It simply flows through you. And so I would like to say, if you are ready to do in a beautiful, aligned, expansive way, rather than just know all of these things. If you are ready to deeply anchor your wisdom, your knowing in your body so that you actually act and speak in alignment with that knowing, and then take the actions accordingly, because we're always moving. Everything in our energy is always moving. If you're ready to take those actions, send me a message. I have one opening for a VIP place with me for the next 3 months, and I have some places in my beautiful group programs. So the pricing is slightly lower for the group programs, slightly higher for the one-on-one, because it is full devotion, full personalized experience and service for you, to support you to go from where you are now to where you want to be. Full reconciling of all of your blind spots, of all the places that are stopping you from making that leap. Thank you for your presence. It was wonderful to have you here. Got super passionate in the middle there. And let me know in the comments underneath, what did you receive from this? What was your takeaway? What's your aha moment? And I'd love to hear, and I'll engage with you when I see your comments. See you.